All right.
Why are you so strange?
I don't know. I'm tired.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of
Liberty Tree.
Liberty Tree. Lindsay, yo.
So today's episode is the food crisis, and a question that often Yo and I go back and forth about talking about is like, is the food crisis intentional? Like, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, America is the guinea pig of the world, which I heard that in college actually from a professor that was like, yeah, we're being tested on. And so the other day, I think it was Friday last week, my daily report, I have to run like fun facts of the day or whatever. And one of the things was that this Dr. McLeod, I don't know if I'm saying his name right.
Okay.
He was born in 1876. He won the Nobel Prize for discovering the role of insulin in metabolizing sugar back in 1923. So kind of just perspective of how long we've been talking about insulin, how long we've known about like how it works, and just to kind of talk about like to set the stage here for just, it's been around for over 100 years that we've been in talks of this. Like, this isn't something new. We don't understand.
Okay.
They've been knowing about this for a while.
Okay.
And so I sent that to you, and you were like, I want to look up something myself.
So right now there's 3 companies that sell insulin to the United States. One that's been all over the news in the last months, Novo Nordisk.
Danish pharmaceutical giant Novo Nordisk reported stronger than expected profits powered by sales of anti-obesity and diabetes drugs, Wegovy and Ozempic, and the company expects demand for those 2 products to continue strong in 2024.
The other 2 are Sanofi and Eli Lilly.
Now, the last one. Okay, yeah.
You can get it. So people complain because the prices are so high, especially for like some of the more newer products that Novo Nordisk is coming out with, like Ozempic.
Okay.
In Europe, it's far cheaper.
Is Ozempic for insulin?
No, but it is still for fat reduction, and the company claims to be fighting obesity. That's kind of their mission statement.
Well, how does that tie into insulin?
Because if you are obese, you have a higher risk of being diabetic. And if you are a diabetic, then you need insulin.
Okay, but it's not like if it's not a guaranteed though.
No, it's not. But your odds go.
Okay, so you're at higher
very
risk.
high,
okay.
very high.
So.
Okay.
So. Is there anything else you?
I mean, it's just $555 billion company. It's growing exponentially since. Actually, Ozempic has been on the market for 6 years. A lot of people don't know that. But
Really?
because their marketing scheme has recently changed, they've been hitting the TikToks. A lot of influencers have been showing some of the transitions.
One of my coworkers is now doing it.
A lot of people are on it. And there's been, because diabetics can't really get it, the people that medically need it are complaining, and there's outcry. And so they are investing hand over fist right now.
My worker's on it for vanity reasons, not medical reasons. Sorry.
And maybe you know somebody that's on it. Maybe you know somebody that needs it.
Maybe you need it.
You know? But they're growing exponentially to try to pretty much meet the market demands.
Okay.
So that's just kind of interesting that it's really only catered to 3. And really they're gouging our insurance companies because most people pay like $25 to $50 for Ozempic.
Do you think that the health crisis is intentional or not?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because we have a department in the United States called the FDA. The Food and Drug Administration. Now, why would you have one department that controls both your drugs and your food? That's like having a company that benefits off of a catch-22 cycle.
Well, they're technically not supposed to be a company. They're supposed to be regulating.
Okay, sorry, they're regulating. We know they're regulating. So right there is a fundamental flaw in terms of checks and balances in our. And it's right there in the writing.
Could it be? I mean, we know that most boomers, and before that, they're like, what, 25% college educated? Not that college makes you smarter. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they weren't very educated as a generation. They didn't have the internet. So even if you didn't go to college, at least now you have the internet. That generation, from my own experience, is a little naive, in my opinion. So could it be that they're not necessarily malicious, but stupid? Naive, ignorant.
Yeah, I mean, remember that TikTok you showed me? Maybe I can link it. And it's a millennial coming home to his parents' house and he's just throwing away
This is what
all
everyone
of the
wants to do.
name brands and all of the crap that people buy that they think is safe for
Okay,
them.
well, what if somebody doesn't? If they're just new to this journey, they might not know that yet. So that could overwhelm them to not know what we're talking about. So let's start at the beginning
It's
here.
important to do your homework. Look at the
Sure.
ingredients, right? It starts with the ingredients.
But it starts even before that to even understand that.
Well, let's
So one of the books we read was The Changing World Order by Ray Dalio, and at the end of it, he recommended a book. It's called The Wizard and the Prophet. And this book, I haven't fully finished it yet, so I can't speak on like what the summary is, but the general premise is these two opposing ideas. And in a lot of ways, I would summarize it as like liberal versus conservative viewpoints on population. One is more long-term, and the other one is more immediate solutions. So the wizard, I would say, is typically kind of liberal. It's like if people are starving, we should invent something. They're your scientists. They're your, so they call them wizards.
They're your innovators.
Innovators. They went to college. They problem solve. They try to come up with problems and solutions right away. Your prophets are more your conservatives. They don't want to and they resist. And they're like, hey, we shouldn't do that because this could happen in the future. This could happen in the future. And they're like, we'll deal with it. Like, that's the two opposing mindsets that keep happening. So this book is written with these two gentlemen from the Great Depression, Berlot and Vogue. I always fuck up who's who. But essentially one of them, the wizard, came from low income during the Great Depression, and the prophet came from upper middle class during the Great Depression. Both of them ended up in a similar place during the Great Depression, so who knows?
They both ended up working for government programs that looked into ways that we could fix our nitrogen problem when it came to fertilizer.
Well, what happened during
I will.
Okay.
And then the other one was sent to Mexico to oversee various plantations in genetic diversity. So think Mendel, crossbreeding, Punnett squares, stuff like that. And so...
Well, there was a crisis.
Yes.
So we had the Dust Bowl happening,
right.
But it was so much more than that. Like in Mexico, they had a bad drought. And I think it was Peru had a bad drought. I don't remember where they were exactly. But essentially, they had a nitrogen issue, which was the guano, the bird feces. That was their main source of nitrogen at the time. Now we have synthetic nitrogen out of all of this. And they also had a drought. And so they needed drought-resistant plants that could grow quickly. So... this is essentially, I don't know if this is the first time for GMO, but this was a huge push for GMO.
Correct.
And synthetic fertilizers because we were going to have a massive amount of people that were going to starve. And I don't mean just in America. I mean like on a globe, like the whole freaking world was going to have poor people in low-income countries starving. Now, the thing from the prophet is like, if we solve that problem, do these low-income countries now breed or procreate, and now there's more, and when we inevitably hit another wall where we can't have enough food, or the next crisis comes along, we can't feed people, now what? The other thing that I personally don't know that it was started maliciously. I think that it originally started with good intent. I mean, they say like the road to hell is paved with good intentions, I think is the saying.
Yeah.
And I think that they started out wanting to solve hunger at whatever cost, and the cost was side effects that initially they did not know. I mean, this is the Great Depression, so again, 1920, 1930s, you know, so they didn't necessarily know, but they knew things like how insulin, and so they were starting to know these things. And I think within 100 years, undoubtedly they evolved to figure out what the problems were. And I think that's where it turned. Where exactly, I don't know.
I mean, it was trying to solve the immediate issue of stem rust, which was killing a large majority of plants, trying to find stronger varietals and breeds that could not only sustain the rust, but also procreate into the next season.
I think they were shorter.
Yeah, and grow higher.
No, I think they were short and stubby.
Oh, is that what they liked?
So they were the wind or something.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So,
and again,
it's a great book.
Good intentions.
Yeah. And I think they said it led to feeding X hundreds of thousands of people.
The maize, yeah.
Because of the maize that they were able to produce from it.
So later, then I was watching a video by, he's pretty popular on YouTube. I'm sure a lot of y'all have seen him, Dr. John Campbell. and he was doing an interview with another doctor. We can link the video. And they were asking about this health crisis, and he goes, I think that this health crisis, when they write about it in history, is going to be bigger than the tobacco crisis, because the tobacco industry convinced doctors that cigarettes were good, and they were advertising you had doctors smoking and being like, yeah, it's good for you, it helps you stay fit, or whatever the hell they were saying. Come to find out, in other countries they're like, no, it's bad, yada yada. But the tobacco industry was lobbying for this because they made a fuck ton of money. Of course they were lobbying. Well, he's saying it's the same setup, but this time is food. And so I just thought that was incredibly powerful to think about the future and how they're going to look at it and be like, yeah, we had this processed food epidemic, genetically modified. I studied chemistry. I was somewhat indoctrinated, but I also understand genetically modified doesn't necessarily mean bad. It just includes risks that are unknown is really the best way to look at it. You can have new allergens that we didn't have before. It may be stored differently in your body. It's basically like a giant question mark. It's an experiment. It doesn't mean it's always bad. It just means hope you're okay to experiment with your body. And I think for me, one of the things that after I got out of what I would say the indoctrination is, when I reflected on it, is from evolution, it takes a long time for us to evolve and plants to evolve. And we basically expedited evolution. And in nature, we would have slowly evolved with these plants, and they expedited, and we have not. So our bodies have not caught up to these changes. And so we're going to see side effects from these massive changes that our bodies can't digest because we didn't evolve naturally with the plants.
Sure.
So,
it's really quick to create new varietals and things like that.
But it doesn't mean our bodies can take the changes. Our
immune system takes some time.
Yeah.
It's no secret that there's private investment, billions of dollars in private, land acquisitions. Look at Bill Gates. He's openly pro population reduction.
Yeah.
He's openly saying that
I don't
is
know if
something
it's
that he wants.
to control the land, to protect the land, or if it's to. I've tried to figure out what the idea is. I don't know if it's to try to reduce food options.
Maybe it's an effort to just say, you know what, if the dollar does fail, I'll have all this land, which is a huge hedge. Land is just going to be land.
Land is finite.
Land is, exactly. It's only so much.
It's a finite resource. More so than even a metal.
Right. I don't really know what his plans are, but.
Yeah, no, I don't know either. Yeah. But, so I guess from this is where we can get into conspiracy theories.
Is this conspiracy time?
Are you guys ready?
Let's do it.
Okay, I'm gonna go grab Nala.
All right.
She loves conspiracies.
And we'll just cut her in.
Nala's gonna put on her tinfoil hat because this is very dangerous information, and we need to protect her from this kind of information. Okay, Squibbies? So good. Okay, let's tune you in. All right. So my conspiracy theory is a lot of people are like, oh, they want us sick. I actually think it goes deeper than that. Okay, and this is a little controversial.
Because, why do they want us sick?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Not just money. It goes deeper.
Okay.
So, Nazi Germany, they experimented on people, and they mass murdered people, but they did, heinous, that's the word.
Heinous crimes against humanity.
Yes. So, this time around, what would be better than a person signing up willingly? Now, this is dangerous. She didn't wear her hat. She's freaking out. Oh my God. What would be better than people signing up willingly to be tested on and experimented on? And they will pay you to do it. So the thought is, my thought is these people that are very wealthy, very elite, they want to live forever. But more so than that, they've already started growing organs, but they don't necessarily know how to grow a heart. They don't know how to grow a brain and make it work the way humans do. They're trying to understand everything. But if there's no sickness, why would somebody just sign up to have their brain cut open and probed at? Why? Who in their right mind would just be like, yeah, I'll take a, lobotomy to the brain? Why not? No, they need us sick. And also this mental health crisis. What is the thing they probably understand the least?
Nerve cells.
And the brain.
Yeah.
Probably the brain.
Well, if we're sick and desperate, then we will make what decisions we can. And if that includes some type of experimental drug,
Programs.
experimental procedure,
Mm-hmm.
we will go ahead and do it.
And I think with a whole generation that is so educated, I would say also indoctrinated, they're very trusting of, one of the gentlemen said, I think it was an interview, his name is Chris, and the gentleman he was interviewing was Eric Weinstein, I think is his name.
Weinstein?
Yeah, and he's talking about like there's science and then there's the science, TN. And it's like this indoctrination of like, you can't ask questions anymore. You can't, even first-hand account. I talked about this in another video. First-hand accounts aren't real anymore.
Right. I mean, it goes back to, I mean, that's how I ended this Uber drive today. So I have a story about an Uber drive. Maybe we have time for this.
I don't know.
Well, it ended with pretty much my Uber driver saying the exact same thing. It all starts with the science. The problem is the science because A, it's very arrogant. A, it's not very open-minded. And B, there's too much money packed into it.
Yeah.
Where it creates these allegiances where now there's like agendas.
Yeah.
The science and the statistics will support what they want to do and what they want to see.
Yeah.
And this Uber drive was unlike any I've ever taken. I literally get in and I was like, hey, like, Jerome, is this you? The man has like this inspirational gospel message cranked to like 11. And with this like emotional piano in the background. And I was like, normal people probably, I was expecting him to turn it down. No, this man, this Rastafari, he kept it going the whole time. So at first it like hits me like a fucking wall. And I'm just getting situated like, okay, like what's going on? But then like the message is really good. You know, like when the right message hits you at the right time and you're like, this is sinking into my bones.
You're like, I don't know why this just hit me like this.
Within 5 minutes, it was just like, the message was like...
You were texting me this whole time.
Do what you need to do.
Mind you, we can play some for you because you sent me...
If I can find it.
No, you sent them to me.
Okay. Do what you need to do. The right people will be like a lighthouse to you. You have to let go of certain individuals that are holding you back.
Which we've been having some shit go on.
Not every person likes every wine. And you're not going to like every wine. So you go on and be a fine wine. And I love you. And I was just like, I was crying in the back of this Uber after 10. I texted Lindsay. I was like, I'm crying in the back of this.
No, you
man's
texted
car.
me and you said, I'm going to cry. Too late.
Too late? Literally, I was crying. It was the middle of the day. And I'm like trying to hide it. He's like, oh, you listening to this too? And I'm like, yeah, I am. And I'm like pulling the tears off my cheeks. And I was just like, bless you, brother. And I like give him a fist bump, whatever. And we were just like, because we were talking about this. Like, they want you sick. They want you angry. They want you separated. They want you broke.
I think it's more than money because they have money. They have power.
Right.
What do they want? They want immortality. That's the next thing. They want immortality. And how can they do that if they don't know how to get it? They want to be gods. They want to create people. And then the sick fucking thing we came to is...
Well, it's cheaper. They can make money on you. What? It would cost them too much to clone you.
Absolutely.
They can make money on you while they then use
we
the
talked
experience.
about this and we were like, what happens if they figure out how to make a brain, a heart, a this, or that? If they need to make robots, fuck it, they could just grow humans and say, I own you, I grew you.
Right.
You're talking about slaves.
Again, hey.
Yo.
Hey.
Please put on your safety equipment, your PPE.
This is sheer conspiracy.
Look, this
is sheer conspiracy.
Take it as you will.
Anyway, I think that's going to wrap this one up.
For this one.
Yeah. Leave some comments. What do you guys think? What don't you think? We'll hope you enjoyed it, and we're going to see you on the next one, right?
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.